All right, welcome back to the channel. So it looks like Canelo Alvarez gym has more steroid allegations on top of it. This time, Oscar Valdez, who works out with him, tested positive for a banned diuretic. And here we go again with the steroid allegations related to Canelo Alvarez because, hey, man, when you're on the same team, sometimes, the blame may shift to you as well. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be a harsh video about not only Canelo Alvarez and Oscar Valdez, but just boxing in general with the steroid issues that are going on and the fact that, look, at a certain point in time, man, if we people really want boxing to be a reputable sport, people have to do more to get rid of steroids in boxing. It's a good thing that Valdez around and actually catching people now, but it just makes me think with these guys all being in the same gym and working out with one another, that they are all kind of doing the same thing, and that kind of connects Oscar Valdez to Canelo Alvarez, in my opinion. Now, before I get into the meat of the video, though, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed. Like the video, share the video. It goes a long way towards growing the channel. It'd be much appreciated. Look, Canelo Alvarez is one of the greatest fighters, fighting today. I had for years, well, not for years, for a long time, I had considered him to be the #1 pound-for-pound fighter, in the world. And a few years ago, before the second Gennady Golovkin fight, he tested positive for Cumbuterol, and at pretty much from right there, all of the doubts, all of the innuendo, all of the pretty much flat out accusations from guys like Paulie Malignaggi just started ringing home to me, and I was like, yeah, more than likely Canelo Alvarez is a juicer, and that's why he looks like absolutely looks like like an Irish version of the Hulk in the boxing ring, right? So I had to remove Canelo Alvarez from my pound for pound list, and I got a lot of heat from that. But it's just that on this channel, I really do believe that cheating needs to be punished, and cheating needs to be punished severely. Otherwise, you're just going to always continue to have issues that pop up. And this is what I think is happening with Oscar Valdez, testing positive for a banned diuretic. Now, these guys are fighting out of the same gym. They have the same associates, and it is, it may not be fair to say it, but to a certain extent, it's true in life that birds of a feather flock together. These are not, this is not, I don't believe that this, that this performance enhancing stuff is like operating in the shadows. I believe that there are people that know full well what they're doing, know full well what other people around them are doing. And when you're in the same area, you have the access to the same people and you do the same thing. One of the perfect examples of that, though, which is kind of notorious, is out in Great Britain. My understanding is, and I don't want to accuse them, but of Dominic Ingles' gym, where Kell Brook and those guys come out of there, and you can clearly see, with the eye test, that these guys are on something, man. I mean, the human body looks a certain way. And for these guys to be all these overly muscled up, chiseled figures that really don't look like, like figures that you would get fighting in a boxing ring, these guys are doing things. These guys are doing things and using things that really do bring shame on the sport. Really do bring shame on the sport of boxing, man. And something really needs to be done with it before more people get hurt with. More people get hurt with it. But now I'm not saying that Canelo Alvarez should be indicted or kicked out because of something that happened to Oscar Valdez. I don't believe that's the case. But at the same time, we need to continue to look and press on VADA, press on the WBC and these guys to do something about the sport, because it's basically, it's just unfair. And at the basis of sports is sportsmanship. And it's bad enough that boxing is already, a very, very brutal sport, but to bring in these just guys that are just, I know it's big money and all that. And when you get big money, people are saying, like, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, but it's getting to the point where it's just kind of ridiculous. If you look at what happened with the Tyson Fury fight, that's an example of it. You look at what happens with the judges and the the Michael Fox fight, right? Where in the Tyson Fury fight, it's obviously that this guy's cheated, obvious that he had tampered gloves, right? Obvious, in my opinion, obvious that the guy's on steroids. And the media doesn't say anything about it. Nobody says anything about it, even though you're caught red-handed on camera with the gloves, because of the money involved in it, or because of the oh, no shame, no no harm, no foul type of situation, or because the guy that's cheating is somebody that you want to win. Just because I really like Canelo Alvarez as a fighter, because I think Canelo Alvarez is an excellent fighter. He's not one of the best in the world just because he's on steroids. He's on, and I do believe that he is, but he's not just the best fighter because, one of the best fighters in the world because of that. He's one of the best fighters because legitimately he is one of the most talented fighters. He's one of the most skilled fighters. And, he goes in there with a game plan and he executes it. He's got an excellent camp. But you do have to wonder whether or not, that little extra, what would happen if that little extra boost for Canelo Alvarez wasn't there, and also wonder, why do you feel the need to do that? There must be something that is not, all the way right with him, for him to do that. Because I don't believe that everybody in sports is on steroids. I do think that there is a lot of people that are on them, but you can kind of tell, and just by looking at a lot of them, who they are, right? So, but Tyson Fury is an example of just, when you see just out and out blatant cheating and then you let it go, as soon as fans start calling it out and saying stuff about it, that really does wear on the reputation of boxing. And also like the judging with Michael Fox and how, it was a fight that he obviously won. But time and time again, you get these really skewed scorecards. Well, I personally think that you should be, approaching all of these things the same way. Like, for example, the VADA testing. VADA testing was manipulated by the WBC after Canelo Alvarez tested positive when they raised the level of Cumbuterol that was allowable in the system. So now, in the system of the boxer. So now Canelo Alvarez could have the same amount of Cumbuterol in his system as when he tested positive now and be determined to be negative, right? Which, my understanding of of steroids, at least, or what I would prefer to do with steroids, is that you just have a zero tolerance policy. If somebody gets, legitimately with like an anabolic steroid or something like that in their system, maybe one time that's it, and the second time you're banned. But if they ban people started banning people on the first go, that may actually eliminate people doing it at all. And I don't think that that's necessarily too extreme, a circumstance, because when you got all that money riding and that it may all go away if you test positive for steroids, then you're going to do everything you can to stay off of steroids. Similar to when the ABC, the Association of Boxing Councils, pressured the WBA about their belts and said, look, if you don't get rid of some of these belts, we're not going to allow you to sanction fights in the United States. Well, all of a sudden, boom, there goes 55 belts, because they know where their paycheck's coming from. But anyway, it's really upsetting to see these guys, this happen coming out of the same camp. And yeah, I'm sorry, to a certain extent, birds of a feather, flock together. And I'm thinking, it may be, that's just a communal thing over there. Hopefully I'm wrong. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.